Hello Year 3, let's make sure we have everything we need for our English today. So just check you've got a sharp pencil, a ruler and your English book with you. We are going to organise our page in two halves like before. You're going to need a top half and a bottom half. So draw a line with your ruler now across the middle of your book and we'll pop the date in a moment. Do that now. Okay, so we should have two halves in your book now. The top half for your inspiration station, where you're writing your lists of words, and the bottom half to write your paragraph in. So pause the video and jot down the date and LO. So today we're going to be writing our three chunks as normal. Chunk 1, we're going to be using some adverbs, or adverbial phrases actually. We'll talk about those in a moment. For chunk 2, we're going to be using some repetition, and we're going to be using those precise verbs, which is in your learning objective. For chunk 3, we're going to be using our looking lens, and we're going to be writing a complex sentence together. Let me play you that little short part of the animation so you know the part we're writing about. It's going to be really important to make sure that you're paying attention because it is short. So just make sure you're looking at the screen. Let me just get it set up for you. Make sure you're looking at the screen so you don't miss it. Okay. Here we go, so looking carefully. Okay, that is the little bit we are doing today. So it's the part when the queen ant, she whistles, doesn't she, to the rest, and they all come to save the day. Well, they'll certainly have a plan, don't they, which they start to do. So let me pop my flip charts back up for you. So we've actually done plot point 1 together. That was that calm and organised duties when the ants were getting on with their normal business. And then we've done plot point 2 as well, where that shocking sudden arrival of the predator appeared. They were having quite a negative time at that point, weren't they? Now, today we're actually looking at plot point 3. So we've just got one more lesson like this to do. So this part, I've summarised that little part as quick thinking from head ant to save the troop. Now, I'd like you to have a little pause the video and have a think about what intent you think this part of the clip is. So think about, is it positive or negative? And then think about, to what extent is it positive or negative? Do that now, just have a think about it. Okay, because we're on one screen today, I'm going to pop in what I think. Yours might be different and that's totally okay. So they're in danger, aren't they, in my mind? They're in danger. It's probably not the worst part of their day because luckily the queen ant has got a plan and she starts to carry out her plan. So we're definitely negative. They're still in danger. It's probably not the worst part of their day. So last time you had a -4, that was the shocking arrival of the anteater. I'm going to choose a -3 on mine because they're still in danger, but they've got a plan. And they look quite confident doing this plan. So I think that they think, oh yeah, well, we're going to defeat this predator. It doesn't look like the first time they've done this. So I think we're going to go -3 on mine. So you can actually see, if we track the intent through the story, it starts quite positive, doesn't it? It goes quite negative, and we're now looking like we're on the way up. So we'll see where the last plot point takes us next time. Okay, let's look at our first chunk then. So we're going to be using time adverbs and adverbial phrases. So we want to start the sentence with something similar to immediately, because the queen ants noticed the predator there and she wants to start helping this poor little ant as quickly as possible. So pause the video, start making your little list and your inspiration station at the top of your page. An idea to get you going is immediately. Pause the video, take a moment on your own first, and I'll give you some ideas to add to your list if you are very stuck, which is fine. So do that now. Okay, so some of my ideas, I thought we could start our sentence off with without warning, or straight away, or just then. And the last thought I had was in that moment. So if you really like a couple of those ideas, you can certainly add those to your list if you like. It gives you a few more choices when you do your sentence writing, doesn't it? Okay, so let's start our sentence then. If you want to copy a couple of those down, you might need to pause the video again. So I'm going to use one of those time adverbials straight away. I quite liked in that moment, actually, so I think I'm going to use that one. In that moment, comma, after my adverbial. She whistled, didn't she? Whistled to the group, to the colony, to the troop. I think I'm going to go with troop. That's certainly a word that you could change if you wanted to. And that's actually my first chunk. So let's read it back to check. In that moment, she whistled to the troop. Okay, let's just highlight that adverbial phrase that we just used. In that moment, she whistled to the troop. So pause the video. You now write your sentence, editing those little bits to make it more of your own. Do that now. Okay, so then we're going to move on to chunk number 2. So next, we really want to write about how the ants move. So we're going to be writing some ED words. We're going to be using verbs here. We're going to be quite precise with our verbs. I'm not going to use words like the ants ran to form their sphere. I'm not going to use words like the ants walked to form their sphere. I'm going to be a little bit more specific. They were really agile moving along the ground, weren't they? Some of them even moved through the air. So an example to get you going would be a word like somersaulted. So I'm thinking of almost like gymnastic words. They were always moving like gymnasts, weren't they? They looked really clever in doing so. So pause the video. Can you create your own little list of verbs to describe how the ants moved? Do that now. Okay, a couple more from me then. So if you were very stuck on that, a couple more you could add to your list if you wanted to. I thought of the word catapulted, dived, hopped, bounced, and leapt. So I quite liked those words. So yes, if you want to add a couple to your list, you can. Right, we're going to move on to our second sentence then for our paragraph. So here we go. Now they didn't all rush at once, did they? They sort of went in an order, didn't they? So I think I'm going to start my sentence off with one by one, the ants. Now I want my my 3 ED words, which is actually repetition as well, because it's repeating the ED part. One by one, the ants dived. I quite like. One by one, the ants dived, hopped, and somersaulted. I quite like that word. I just switched up. One by one, the ants dived, hopped, and somersaulted into an. Now it was very ordered, wasn't it? It wasn't higgledy-piggledy. So I'm going to use the word organised, I think. They were very organised in doing so. And that shape they made at the end was a round shape, wasn't it? And if we think about our 3D shapes, it's actually a sphere. So I'm going to use that word as well. Into an organised sphere. I'm going to save that actually. Into an organised formation. I quite like that. Formation, full stop. Let's read through and check that sentence. Here we go. One by one, the ants dived, hopped and somersaulted into an organised formation. So let's just highlight those bits that you need to change and those focuses we've got for today. So dived, there's my ED word, hopped and somersaulted. And that's that repetition as well in that sentence. Pause the video, you write your sentence. You can stick with my sentence structure if you like, or you can change it slightly in your book if you'd like to too. Okay, just make sure you've got your 3 verbs in there to show the repetition and the precise verbs that we chose as well. Do that now. Okay, so we're now looking at our 3rd chunk. We're going to use what we can see. So we're going to describe the sphere, we could call it, the formation. And we're going to be having a go at writing a complex sentence. So the first thing I'd like you to do, this is more of the trickier two actually to add to your list, but some of you can definitely have a think about this. Can you think about some coordinating conjunctions linked to time to explain when something is now finished? So, for example, the word when, pause the video, just have a think. If you can't think of any, don't worry. I've got some examples in a moment, so do that now. Okay, so when would be a good one. I've got some more here. Once. Or after, or as soon as, or now that. So you might want to jot down a couple. I'd make sure you've got 2 or 3 on your list. So you've got some choice in a moment. And then the last little list we're going to make today is some adjectives. So this is when our looking lens comes in. We're going to be describing this sphere that they've made. So you can see a picture here, look, to help you. The ants in their formation, they've made that sphere shape quite cleverly. I haven't come up with lots of ideas today. I'm hoping you might be able to come up with some of your own. You might describe the colour, you might describe how they were organised, you might describe the shape of it. That's up to you. I've decided to describe the size, so I've put enormous. From the ant's perspective, it's probably quite an enormous shape they're making. So I'm going to choose enormous. Pause the video, jot some ideas down of yours. So this is your last list in your inspiration station that you're making now. Okay, let's have a look at our final chunk, our final sentence to make our paragraph. So I need to start this sentence with my subordinating conjunction. So I could choose when or once. I think I'm going to do once. Once all were in position. Once all were in position, comma, I feel like that's a natural place to take a breath. The Queen ant joined them, because she was the last one to join in, wasn't she? Interestingly, she was the leader, wasn't she? But she actually helped the ants as well. She didn't just stand and watch the whole thing, did she? She actually joined in and helped them save the troop. So once all were in position, the Queen ant joined them to make and this is where our adjective comes in. We're going to describe the sphere. I'm going to use that word enormous. Hopefully you'll have your own ideas. Enormous sphere. Okay, so in that little chunk, we made sure that we had that adjective. That's actually, because we've got an adjective and a noun, what is it? Yeah, that's a noun phrase we've got there. And we had a go, didn't we, at popping in that adverbial phrase. Sorry, that conjunction at the beginning. Right, we need to do a final read through. You need to do the same in your work, just to check through and edit. So I'm going to just check through mine. In that moment, she whistled to the troop. One by one, the ants dived, hopped, and somersaulted into an organised formation. Once all were in position, the queen ant joined them to make an enormous sphere. I'm quite happy with that. I don't think there's anything I want to immediately change. So good luck with yours. Please post on Dojo. I'd love to hear some of these maybe in our sharing session in the checkout at the end of the day. That would be amazing. So I'll see you later on. Well done. Bye-bye.